Human, you can't just marry me, my sister, says Elaine. The princess demands that you take her with you too. Asterisk Captain Marcus Chen stepped out of his transport ship and looked up at the Crystal Palace. Before him, the building rose high into the purple sky of Zephyria Prime, its walls made of clear blue crystal that sparkled in the light of two suns. He had come here expecting a simple trade meeting, nothing more than talks about shipping routes and resource sharing between Earth and this distant world. Marcus adjusted his uniform and walked toward the main entrance. His boots clicked on the smooth crystal floor as tall guards with pale blue skin and silver eyes watched him pass. The Zephyrians were beautiful people, he thought. They moved with grace and spoke in soft voices that sounded like music. But there was something sad about them too, something empty in their eyes. Captain Chen. A voice called out. Marcus turned to see a young woman approaching. She wore a flowing white robe with silver threads that caught the light. Her hair was long and silver, and her eyes were the same bright blue as the palace walls. I am Princess Elaine. Thank you for coming to our world. Marcus bowed his head politely. Your Highness, I am honored to be here. Shall we begin the trade discussions? Princess Elaine's face grew serious. Captain, I must tell you something important. The situation here has changed. We are no longer just talking about trade. We need your help with something much more serious. She led him through long hallways filled with beautiful art and strange plants that glowed with soft light. Other Zephyrians they passed looked at Marcus with curious eyes, but none spoke to him or even to each other. The silence felt heavy and strange. They entered a large room with windows that looked out over the crystal city below. Princess Elaine gestured for Marcus to sit in a chair made of smooth white stone. She sat across from him, her hands folded in her lap. Captain Chen, she began, my father, the king, died 3 weeks ago. According to our ancient laws, I should take the throne as the next ruler. But there is a problem, a very big problem. Marcus leaned forward. What kind of problem? Our laws say that the new ruler must be bonded to someone who can bridge the void between hearts. It is an old saying that we have never understood. For hundreds of years, no Zephyrian has been able to do this bridging. Without it, I cannot become queen. And without a queen, our people will fall into civil war. I see, Marcus said, though he did not really understand. But what does this have to do with me? Princess Elaine's eyes brightened with hope. Our scholars have studied your people for many years. We believe that humans have this special ability. You can connect with others in ways we cannot. You can bridge the void between hearts. Marcus felt confused. Your Highness, I am just a diplomat. I came here to talk about trade agreements, not to get involved in your royal succession. Please. Captain, Princess Elaine said, standing up quickly. Let me show you something. She walked to a large crystal screen on the wall and touched it. Images appeared showing ships attacking Zephyrian colonies. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as cities burned on distant planets. The hegemony has been attacking our outer worlds for months, she explained. They are warlike people who want to conquer everything they see. They know we are weak without a proper ruler. If I cannot take the throne soon, they will invade this world too. Millions of my people will die. Marcus stared at the images of destruction. He had heard reports about the hegemony's attacks, but seeing it made his chest feel tight with worry. Captain Chen, Princess Elaine said, turning to face him. Her voice shook with emotion. I am asking you to marry me. If you bond with me, I can become queen. I can save my people. Marcus's mouth fell open. Your Highness, I cannot just. This is very sudden. I barely know you. I know this is strange, she said quickly. But our people are dying. Every day we wait, more colonies fall to the hegemony. Please. You are our only hope. Before Marcus could answer, the door burst open. Another young woman rushed in, her silver hair flying behind her. She looked like Princess Elaine, but was clearly younger. Her blue eyes flashed with anger. Elaine, the newcomer shouted, you cannot do this. Princess Elaine sighed. Marcus, this is my sister, Princess Kira. Princess Kira marched up to them, her hands on her hips. Human, you cannot just marry my sister. The ancient laws are clear. If you have this bridging power, then I have just as much right to bond with you as she does. I demand that you take me as your wife too." Marcus felt his head spinning. "Wait, what? Both of you?" "The law says the ruler must be bonded to a bridge keeper," Princess Kira said firmly. "It does not say which royal child gets to be the ruler. If this human can bridge hearts, then he should bond with both of us. Then we can rule together." "That is not how it works, Kira," Princess Elaine said, her voice getting louder. "I am the eldest. The throne is mine by right. Rights mean nothing if our people are dead." Kira shot back. "You have never understood the spiritual side of our culture. You only think about military strategy. The bridging needs both wisdom and strength." Marcus held up his hands. "Please, both of you, stop arguing. This is all very confusing for me. Where I come from, people do not marry multiple partners. It is against our customs." The two sisters stared at him with shocked faces. "But you must help us," Princess Elaine said desperately. "Without the bonding, there can be no queen. Without a queen, our world will fall. And without both of us working together, even a queen cannot save our people." Princess Kira added, "The hegemony is too strong for one ruler alone." Suddenly, the crystal palace began to shake. The windows rattled and the floor trembled under their feet. Alarms started ringing throughout the building. Red lights flashed as guards ran past the doorway. "What is happening?" Marcus asked, grabbing the arms of his chair to steady himself. Princess Elaine ran to the window and looked up at the sky. Her face went pale. "Hegemony ships, they are here. They are attacking the capital city." The palace shook again, harder this time. Pieces of crystal fell from the ceiling and shattered on the floor. Princess Kira grabbed Marcus's arm. "Captain, you must decide now. Will you help us or will you let our world burn?" Marcus looked out the window and saw bright flashes of light in the sky. Enemy ships fired down at the beautiful crystal city below. Buildings exploded and people ran through the streets in panic. He thought about his own world, Earth, and how humans had learned to work together even when they disagreed. He thought about the frightened faces of the two sisters who had asked for his help. Most of all, he thought about all the innocent people who would die if he said no. The palace shook once more, and Marcus made his choice. "I will help you," he said firmly, "but we need to find a way that honors both your traditions and mine. There has to be another solution." Princess Elaine and Princess Kira looked at each other, then back at him for the first time. Marcus saw hope return to their eyes. Outside, the battle for Zephyr Prime had begun. The attack on the Crystal City lasted for 3 hours. Marcus watched from the palace windows as hegemony ships fired bright beams of energy down at the buildings below. The Zephyrian defense ships fought back bravely, but they were clearly outmatched. When the enemy finally pulled back, large parts of the beautiful Crystal City lay in smoking ruins. Princess Elaine stood next to Marcus, her face hard with determination. "They are testing us," she said quietly, "seeing how strong our defenses are. This was just the beginning." Princess Kira sat in a chair nearby, her eyes closed and her hands pressed to her temples. "I can feel the fear of our people," she whispered. "It flows through the city like a cold river. So many are hurt and scared." Marcus looked at both sisters with curiosity. "You can feel what others are feeling. All Zephyrians have some ability to sense emotions," Princess Elaine explained, "but we cannot connect deeply with each other. We feel the surface feelings, but we cannot touch the heart underneath. That is why we need someone who can bridge the void between hearts." "I still do not understand what that means," Marcus said honestly. "I'm just a human. I do not have any special powers." Princess Kira opened her eyes and looked at him. "But you do. Captain, when you spoke to us earlier, I felt something I have never felt before, a warmth, a connection. You reached something inside me that no one else has ever touched." Marcus felt confused. "I was just talking normally." "That is exactly the point," Princess Elaine said. "For humans, connecting with others is normal. For us, it is impossible. We live our whole lives feeling alone, even when we are surrounded by people." A guard entered the room and bowed to the princesses. Your Highnesses, the High Council wishes to speak with you urgently. They followed the guard to a large meeting room where 12 elderly Zephyrians sat around a crystal table. Their faces looked worried and tired. The oldest among them, a man with completely white hair, stood up when they entered. Princess Elaine, Princess Kira, he said with a slight bow. The situation is worse than we thought. The hegemony has sent us a message. He touched the crystal panel on the table, and a hologram appeared showing a tall, gray-skinned alien with red eyes and sharp teeth. The creature wore black armor and spoke in a harsh, growling voice. People of Zephyria Prime. The hologram said, I am General Vex of the Hegemony Fleet. Your defenses are weak. Your ruler is dead. You have no one to lead you. I give you 72 hours to surrender your world completely. If you refuse, we will return with our full fleet and destroy every city on your planet. You cannot win. Submit now, or watch your people burn. The hologram disappeared, leaving the room in heavy silence. 72 hours, the white-haired councilman said sadly. Our military cannot stand against their full fleet without a proper ruler. The neighboring star systems refuse to help us. They say we are too unstable to be good allies. Princess Elaine's hands closed into fists. There has to be a way to fight them. Not with our current forces, another councilman said. General Vex commands over 100 warships. We have only 30 that are still capable of battle. Marcus listened to all of this with growing concern. He thought about his own world and how humans had faced impossible odds before. What if you had a ruler? He asked. Would that change anything? If Princess Elaine could take the throne, some of our allies might help us, the white-haired man replied. But she cannot become queen without the bonding ceremony, and she cannot perform the bonding ceremony without someone who can bridge hearts. Which brings us back to you, Captain, Princess Kira said, looking at Marcus with hope in her eyes. Marcus took a deep breath. I need to understand this bridging ability better before I can help anyone. Can you explain to me exactly what it means? Princess Elaine nodded. The ancient texts speak of someone who can connect minds and hearts across the void. That separates all living beings. In our history, only 3 bridge keepers have ever existed. Each one brought great peace and prosperity to our people. How did they do it? Marcus asked. Through meditation and spiritual joining, Princess Kira answered. The bridge keeper would enter a shared consciousness with the royal family, creating bonds that could never be broken. But no one has been able to do this for over 500 years. Marcus considered this carefully. Would you be willing to try this meditation with me? Not marriage, just the meditation. I want to understand what you mean by this connection. Both sisters exchanged glances. That could be dangerous, Princess Elaine said. If the meditation fails, it could harm your mind. If we do nothing, your entire world will be destroyed in 3 days, Marcus pointed out. I think it is worth the risk. The High Council agreed to prepare a meditation chamber in the deepest part of the palace. As the sun set over the damaged city, Marcus found himself sitting in a circular room made of pure white crystal. Princess Elaine sat on his left side, and Princess Kira sat on his right. Soft music played from hidden speakers, and the air smelled like flowers. Close your eyes, Princess Kira said gently. Try to quiet your thoughts and feel what is around you. Marcus closed his eyes and tried to relax. At first, he felt nothing unusual. Then, slowly, he became aware of something else. In the room, it was like a soft whisper at the edge of his mind, to different voices calling out in loneliness. I can feel you both, he said in surprise. It is like hearing voices in another room. We can sense you too, Princess Elaine whispered. But it is strange. Your mind feels different from ours. Warmer somehow. As the meditation continued, Marcus began to understand what the sisters meant about feeling alone. Their minds felt like islands surrounded by empty ocean. They could reach out to each other, but they could never quite touch. The space between them felt cold and vast. Without thinking about it, Marcus imagined himself as a bridge stretching across the empty space. In his mind, he reached out to both sisters at the same time, offering them a path to each other. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Both Princesses gasped as their minds suddenly connected through Marcus. For the first time in their lives, they could feel each other's thoughts and emotions directly. Elaine, Princess Kira said with tears in her eyes, I can feel your fear. You are so scared of failing our people, and I can feel your wisdom, Princess Elaine replied, her voice full of wonder. You understand our culture in ways I never have. We are stronger together than apart. Marcus opened his eyes and saw both sisters looking at each other with new understanding. The connection between them was still there, flowing through him like electricity. This is incredible, Princess Elaine said. For the first time, I do not feel alone. Neither do I. Princess Kira agreed. Captain Chen, you have given us something we never thought possible. But Marcus was thinking about something else, Your Highnesses. I think I understand the ancient law better now. It does not say the ruler must marry the bridge keeper. It says the ruler must be bonded to someone who can bridge hearts. What if the bonding is not marriage? What if it is something else? Before either sister could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the palace again. The crystal walls shook. But this time it was not from enemy fire. It was from Zephyrian ships launching into space. A guard rushed into the meditation chamber. Your Highnesses, General Vex has returned early. He has brought his entire fleet. Over 200 ships are approaching our world. They will be here in 6 hours, not 72. Marcus stood up quickly, his mind racing with new ideas. Princesses, I think there might be another way to solve this problem, but it will require us to take a very big risk. What kind of risk? Princess Elaine asked. Marcus looked at both sisters, seeing the trust and hope in their eyes. We need to challenge the hegemony to single combat, according to galactic law. If we can prove our right to rule through trial by combat, they cannot attack us without breaking their own treaties with other star systems. Princess Kira's eyes widened. But who would fight for us? Neither Elaine nor I are warriors. Marcus smiled grimly. I will fight for both of you, if I am truly your bridge keeper. Then I represent your united claim to the throne. Outside the palace, enemy ships filled the sky like angry stars, growing brighter as they came closer to the world below. Time was running out. But Marcus Chen had a plan. General Vex appeared on the main communications screen of the palace, his red eyes glowing with anger. Behind him, Marcus could see the bridge of a massive warship filled with armed soldiers. People of Zephyria Prime, the general growled. I have decided not to wait. Your pathetic defense earlier today showed me how weak you truly are. Prepare to surrender immediately, or watch your cities burn. Princess Elaine stepped forward, her chin raised with royal dignity. General Vex, according to the Galactic Peace Accords, any world facing invasion has the right to trial by combat. I invoke that right on behalf of my people. The general laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the communication chamber. Trial by combat? You have no warriors capable of facing my champions, little princess. I will face your champion, Marcus said, moving to stand beside Princess Elaine. I am Captain Marcus Chen of Earth, and I speak for the Royal House of Zephyria. General Vex's eyes narrowed as he studied Marcus. A human, interesting. Very well. But this will not be ordinary combat. According to ancient law, the trial must take place in the arena of minds. Your consciousness will be tested against the collective memory and will of both our peoples. If you fail, your mind will be destroyed and your world will surrender. Marcus felt his heart skip a beat, but he kept his voice steady. I accept. The communication ended, and Princess Kira grabbed Marcus's arm. Captain, you do not understand what you have agreed to. The arena of minds is not a place you fight with weapons. You must survive inside the shared consciousness of entire civilizations. No one has attempted this trial in over 1,000 years. What exactly happens in this arena? Marcus asked. The eldest member of the High Council stepped forward, his face grave. The trial taker must enter a deep meditation that connects them to the memories, fears, and hopes of their people. They must navigate through centuries of history, experiencing the pain and joy of countless lives. Most minds cannot handle such overwhelming information. They become lost in the memories and never return. Princess Elaine looked worried. Marcus, you do not have to do this. There must be another way. There is no time for another way. Marcus replied, General Vex will attack soon whether we take the trial or not. At least this gives us a chance. The High Council quickly prepared. The ancient trial chamber, a room deep beneath the palace that had not been used for generations. The walls were covered with complex crystal patterns that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. In the center of the room sat a single chair, made of black stone. The moment you sit in that chair, the trial will begin, the white-haired councilman explained. You will be connected not only to our people's memories, but also to the consciousness of the hegemony forces above us. You must prove that your will is stronger than theirs. Marcus walked to the chair and paused. Princesses, I need you both here with me. If I am truly meant to bridge hearts, then I cannot do this alone. Princess Elaine and Princess Kira took positions on either side of the chair, each placing a hand on Marcus's shoulders. As soon as he sat down, the crystal patterns on the walls began to glow brighter. The world around Marcus disappeared. Suddenly, he was no longer in the trial chamber. He stood in a vast space filled with swirling lights and whispered voices. The voices spoke in languages he did not understand, but somehow he could feel their meaning. They were the voices of every Zephyrian who had ever lived. Marcus walked forward through the space of memories, and the first vision hit him like a physical blow. He was seeing through the eyes of a young Zephyrian child, watching as enemy ships destroyed her village hundreds of years ago. He felt her terror and pain as if they were his own. The vision changed, and now he was experiencing the loneliness of a Zephyrian scholar who spent his entire life trying to connect with others but never succeeded. The man's sadness was so deep that Marcus almost lost himself in it. More memories crashed over him in waves, wars, famines, celebrations, discoveries. The entire history of Zephyria Prime flowed through his consciousness. But unlike a Zephyrian mind, Marcus's human brain had learned to deal with difficult emotions without being destroyed by them. He experienced each memory fully, felt the pain and joy of countless lives. But he did not lose himself in them. As he moved deeper into the arena of memories, Marcus began to sense something else. Two familiar presences were with him in this strange space. Princess Elaine and Princess Kira were there, their consciousness connected to his through their physical touch. We are here, Princess Elaine's voice whispered in his mind. We can feel what you are experiencing. The memories are not as painful when shared, Princess Kira added with wonder. Your human mind is protecting us from being overwhelmed. Marcus realized that this was the true test. It was not about surviving the memories alone. It was about helping others survive them together. He reached out with his consciousness and pulled both sisters closer to him in the mental space. For the first time in their lives, Princess Elaine and Princess Kira could share memories directly with each other. Through Marcus's connection, they experienced each other's childhood, their fears, their hopes for their people. The barriers that had separated them all their lives began to crumble. I remember when you were born, Princess Elaine said to her sister, tears streaming down her face in the real world. I was so happy to have someone to share the loneliness with, but I never knew how to tell you, and I remember watching you train with the Royal Guard. Princess Kira replied, I was so proud of your strength, but I thought you did not need me. Marcus felt something shifting in the arena around them. The swirling lights began to change color, becoming warmer and brighter. The whispered voices of ancient Zephyrians grew louder, but now they sounded hopeful instead of sad. Suddenly, Marcus understood the truth about the ancient law. The Bridge Keeper was not meant to marry the ruler. The Bridge Keeper was meant to heal the emotional wounds that had separated the royal family for generations. The bonding was not about romance. It was about creating genuine understanding and connection between hearts that had been isolated for too long. The law has been misunderstood for centuries, Marcus said, his voice echoing through both the mental arena and the trial chamber. It does not require marriage. It requires healing. Princess Elaine and Princess Kira, you are both meant to rule together. The ancient texts speak of the ruler, not rulers, because they never imagined two hearts could be so perfectly joined. The crystal patterns on the chamber walls began to pulse with golden light. The High Council watched in amazement as the two sisters, still touching Marcus's shoulders, began to glow with the same warm radiance. "The trial is working," the eldest councilman whispered. "The ancient bonding is actually happening." But just as the connection between the sisters was becoming permanent, the palace shook violently. Emergency alarms began ringing throughout the building. A guard burst into the trial chamber. "Your Highnesses, General Vex has intercepted our communications. He knows about the trial and refuses to honor it. His ships are firing on the city right now." Marcus tried to stand up from the chair, but he was still connected to the arena of memories. The trial was not complete yet. If he broke the connection now, everything they had accomplished would be lost. "Keep going," Princess Elaine said firmly. "Complete the bonding. We will deal with the attack, but you cannot fight them while I am still in the trial," Marcus protested. Princess Kira smiled, and for the first time, her smile was reflected in her sister's face. "Captain Chen, you have given us something more valuable than any weapon. We can finally work together as one mind with two bodies. Trust us." The palace shook again as hegemony ships poured fire down from the sky. In the trial chamber, Marcus closed his eyes and dove deeper into the arena of memories, racing to complete the ancient bonding before their enemies could destroy everything they had fought to save. The battle for Zephyria Prime had truly begun, but now the royal sisters faced it united for the first time in their lives. The moment Marcus completed the bonding ceremony in the arena of minds, everything changed. Princess Elaine and Princess Kira stood up from beside his chair, but they moved as if they shared the same thoughts. When one turned her head, the other turned in perfect harmony. When Elaine spoke, Kira nodded before the words were even finished. "The bonding is complete," Marcus said, standing up slowly. His head felt dizzy from the intense mental journey, but his heart was filled with hope. "You are truly connected now. We can feel each other's thoughts," Princess Elaine said with wonder. "And our strengths combine instead of competing," Princess Kira added. "Elaine's military knowledge and my cultural wisdom flow together like two rivers joining." The palace shook again as enemy fire hit the outer walls. The eldest councilman rushed to them with urgent news. "Your Majesties, the hegemony fleet has surrounded our world. General Vex refuses to honor the trial by combat. He says humans have no right to represent Zephyrian interests." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. "He is breaking galactic law. General Vex does not care about law," Princess Elaine said, her voice hard with determination. "But now that Kira and I are bonded, we can officially claim the throne together. We are co-queens of Zephyria Prime, and as queens, we can lead our people in battle." Princess Kira added, "Captain Chen, will you serve as our military advisor? Your human tactical knowledge could help us find ways to fight that the hegemony does not expect." Marcus nodded firmly. "I will help you in any way I can." The three of them hurried to the palace war room, where Zephyrian military commanders were studying battle maps on glowing crystal tables. The commanders looked surprised to see both princesses enter together, moving and speaking in perfect coordination. "Report," Queen Elaine commanded. "Your Majesty," the lead commander said, bowing quickly. "The enemy has 200 ships in orbit around our world. Our 30 remaining vessels are trying to defend the major cities, but we are badly outnumbered. We estimate our forces will be destroyed within 6 hours. What about ground defenses?" Queen Kira asked. "Limited, Your Majesty. Most of our military bases were destroyed in the first attack. We have perhaps 5,000 soldiers left to defend the capital city." Marcus studied the battle displays with interest. The Zephyrian strategy was based on direct confrontation, meeting enemy ships with their own ships, defending cities with large formations of soldiers in the open. It was brave, but not very effective against superior numbers. "Your Majesties," Marcus said carefully, "may I suggest a different approach? On Earth, when humans face larger armies, we do not try to fight them directly. We use what we call guerrilla tactics." The Zephyrian commanders looked confused. "What are guerrilla tactics?" one of them asked. Marcus pointed to the city map. "Instead of defending fixed positions, small groups of soldiers hide in buildings and strike at enemy forces when they do not expect it. Then they disappear before the enemy can respond. It is like being bitten by many small insects instead of attacked by one large animal. Queen Elaine's eyes brighten with understanding. Hit-and-run attacks use the city itself as cover. Exactly, Marcus said. And there is something else. Your people can sense emotions, right? What if we use that ability to coordinate attacks? Soldiers could feel when their teammates are about to strike, allowing perfect timing without using communications that enemies might intercept. Queen Kira nodded excitedly. The emotional connection could work like a battle network, but our people have never been able to connect deeply enough for that kind of coordination. That is where I come in, Marcus said. If I am truly a bridge keeper, maybe I can help your soldiers connect with each other the same way I connected you two. The queens exchanged a look that needed no words. Do it, they said together. Marcus spent the next 2 hours moving through the palace and the city, meeting with groups of Zephyrian soldiers. At each meeting, he used the same meditation techniques he had learned with the princesses. He helped small teams of 5 or 6 soldiers form emotional connections with each other. The results were amazing. Soldiers who had felt isolated and afraid suddenly found themselves part of a united group mind. They could sense each other's locations, feel when teammates were in danger, and coordinate attacks without speaking a single word. As the connection spread through the military forces, something unexpected happened. The soldiers began fighting with a skill and bravery that surprised everyone, including themselves. Small teams moved through the city like perfectly coordinated machines, striking at enemy landing parties and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. General Vex's forces had been expecting to face frightened, disorganized defenders. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to know their every move. Hegemony soldiers would enter a building only to be attacked from 3 directions at once by Zephyrians who moved with impossible coordination. This is incredible, Queen Elaine said, watching battle reports coming from across the city. Our forces are actually winning ground battles against superior numbers. The emotional network is working better than we hoped, Queen Kira added. Our soldiers feel like they are part of something larger than themselves. They are not afraid anymore. Marcus smiled, but his expression was thoughtful. There is still the problem of the fleet in orbit. Ground tactics will not help us against 100 warships. As if summoned by his words, the communication screen activated. General Vex appeared, his red eyes burning with fury. Behind him, Marcus could see other hegemony officers looking worried and confused. What trickery is this? The general snarled. Your soldiers fight like they share one mind. This is not natural Zephyrian behavior. We are fighting to protect our home, Queen Elaine replied calmly. Perhaps your forces are simply not as strong as you believed. Do not mock me, little queen, General Vex growled. I will not be defeated by parlor tricks. If you will not surrender, I will destroy your cities from orbit. See how your clever tactics work against orbital bombardment. The communication ended, and alarms immediately began ringing throughout the palace. The orbital fleet was preparing to fire down at the city, with weapons powerful enough to level entire districts. We need intelligence on their fleet positions, Marcus said urgently. If we can find a weakness in their formation, maybe our ships can exploit it. I will lead a reconnaissance mission, Queen Elaine decided. No, Marcus said firmly. Both of you need to stay here and coordinate the defense. I will go. A small human ship might be able to get close to their fleet without being detected. Queen Kira shook her head. It is too dangerous. If they capture you, we will lose our bridge keeper. If we do nothing, your entire world will be destroyed. Marcus pointed out, someone has to take the risk. The queens looked at each other with their shared thoughts, then nodded reluctantly. Be careful, Marcus, they said together. Our people need you? Marcus took a small, fast scout ship and launched into space, staying close to the planet's surface to avoid detection. His plan was to circle around the enemy fleet and observe their formation from different angles. If he could find ships that were positioned badly or had weak spots in their defenses, the Zephyrian fleet might be able to exploit those weaknesses. For an hour, Marcus flew carefully through the debris field left by earlier battles. His small ship was hard to detect among the wreckage of destroyed vessels. He managed to get detailed scans of the enemy fleet formation and discovered several promising weaknesses. But as he prepared to return to the planet, his ship's alarms suddenly activated. 3 hegemony fighters had spotted him and were moving to intercept. Marcus tried to outrun them, but his scout ship was designed for stealth, not speed. The enemy fighters surrounded him and forced his ship to land in the docking bay of General Vex's flagship. Marcus destroyed his navigation data before hegemony. Soldiers boarded his vessel and took him prisoner. They brought him to the bridge in chains, where General Vex waited with a cruel smile on his face. Captain Marcus Chen of Earth, the general said mockingly, the famous bridge keeper. Do you know what I'm going to do to you? I assume you plan to execute me to break Zephyrian morale. Marcus said, keeping his voice steady despite his fear. Oh, much worse than that, General Vex replied. I am going to broadcast your death to every screen on the planet below. When your precious queens see you die, their emotional network will collapse. Their soldiers will feel your pain and lose all will to fight. Marcus was locked in a small cell to await his public execution. But as he sat alone in the darkness, he began to sense something unexpected. Through the metal walls of the ship, he could feel emotions that were strangely familiar. The hegemony soldiers around him felt lonely. It was the same kind of loneliness he had sensed in the Zephyrian princesses, deep, aching isolation that came from being unable to truly connect with others. Marcus realized with shock that General Vex's species suffered from the same emotional isolation that had plagued Zephyria. The hegemony's aggression and constant wars might not be caused by evil or greed. They might be caused by the desperate search for a connection they could never achieve among themselves. Marcus sat in his small prison cell aboard General Vex's flagship, feeling the loneliness that surrounded him like a thick fog. Every hegemony soldier he could sense through the metal walls carried the same deep ache of isolation that he had felt in the Zephyrian princesses. It was so strong that it made his chest hurt. They are searching for connection too, he whispered to himself. That is why they keep fighting. They are trying to find something they have lost. The cell door opened with a harsh clang, and 2 guards entered to escort Marcus to the bridge. General Vex had prepared a large communication screen that would broadcast to every city on Zephyria Prime. Hegemony officers stood in formation around the bridge, their faces hard and emotionless, but Marcus could feel their hidden sadness. Captain Chen, General Vex said with a cruel smile, are you ready to say goodbye to your precious queens? When they see you die, their soldiers will lose all hope. Marcus looked directly into the general's red eyes. Before you kill me, may I ask you something? Why do your people fight so much? What are you really searching for among the stars? General Vex's smile faded. We fight because we are strong. We conquer because it is our nature. No, Marcus said gently. I can feel what you really feel. You are lonely, General. Your whole species is lonely. You attack other worlds because you hope to find something there that you cannot find at home. Several hegemony officers shifted uncomfortably. General Vex's hands closed into fists. You know nothing about us, human. I know loneliness, Marcus replied. I have felt it in every member of your crew. You are isolated from each other just like the Zephyrians were. The difference is that Zephyrians accept their sadness, while your people turn it into anger. Silence, General Vex roared. Begin. The execution broadcast. But Marcus was not finished. General, let me show you something. Let me show you what it feels like to truly connect with another being. You do not have to live with this emptiness forever. I said silence. The general raised his weapon toward Marcus. Marcus closed his eyes and reached out with his bridging ability. The same way he had connected with the Zephyrian sisters, carefully, gently, he touched the edge of General Vex's consciousness. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. General Vex stumbled backward as if he had been struck by lightning. For the first time in his life, he felt genuine emotional connection with another being. Through Marcus's bridge, he could sense not just the human's thoughts, but also the warm bond between Queen Elaine and Queen Kira far below on the planet. What is this? The general gasped, his weapon falling from his shaking hands. "This is what you have been searching for," Marcus said softly. "Connection, understanding, the feeling that you are not alone in the universe." Tears began to run down General Vex's face, though he probably did not understand why, round the bridge. Other hegemony officers stared in shock as their commander showed emotion for the first time. Any of them could remember. "How is this possible?" General Vex whispered. "Humans can bridge the space between hearts." Marcus explained. "We can help species connect with each other when they cannot do it alone. Your people do not have to fight anymore, General. There is another way." The communication screen was still active, broadcasting this conversation to Zephyria Prime. On the planet below, Queen Elaine and Queen Kira watched with amazement as their greatest enemy broke down in tears. "He feels what we felt before Marcus helped us," Queen Kira said with wonder. "The hegemony has been fighting because they are in pain," Queen Elaine realized. "They are not evil. They are just lost." Back on the flagship, Marcus kept the emotional bridge open between himself and General Vex, slowly, carefully. He helped the general experience memories of peace instead of war. He showed him what it felt like to work together instead of fighting, to build instead of destroying. "My people," General Vex said, his voice breaking with emotion. "We have been so angry for so long. We thought strength meant being alone. We thought connection was weakness. Connection is the greatest strength there is," Marcus replied. "Would you like me to help your officers feel it too?" General Vex nodded, unable to speak. One by one, Marcus extended his bridging ability to the other hegemony officers on the bridge. Each one experienced the same overwhelming relief as they felt genuine connection. For the first time in their lives, the change in the ship's atmosphere was incredible. Officers who had stood rigid and silent began talking to each other with wonder and excitement. The loneliness that had filled the vessel like poison began to fade away. "Captain Chen," General Vex said, his voice now gentle instead of harsh. "What my people have done, the worlds we have attacked, the lives we have destroyed, can this ever be forgiven?" "Forgiveness is possible," Marcus said. "But first, you must stop the attack on Zephyria Prime. Then we can talk about how to move forward together." General Vex immediately ordered all hegemony ships to cease fire and withdraw to a safe distance. The orbital bombardment that would have destroyed the crystal cities never came. 3 hours later, Marcus found himself in the strangest diplomatic meeting of his life. Queen Elaine and Queen Kira sat at a crystal table in the palace, while General Vex appeared on a communication screen from his flagship. All around them, representatives from both species watched with careful hope. "The Galactic Council has agreed to mediate peace talks," Queen Elaine announced. "But first, we must address the damage that has been done. My fleet will provide resources to rebuild the cities we damaged," General Vex said immediately. "And we will withdraw from all the worlds we have occupied. My people, we were not thinking clearly. The loneliness made us desperate. We understand," Queen Kira said gently. "Before Marcus came to us, we felt the same desperation. Isolation makes everyone do things they later regret." Marcus listened to the negotiations with satisfaction, but his mind was already thinking about the future. "Your Majesties, General Vex, I believe this is just the beginning. There are probably other species in the galaxy who suffer from the same emotional isolation. If humans can help bridge the gaps between them, we might be able to prevent many future wars." "What are you suggesting?" General Vex asked. "An alliance," Marcus said. "Not just between Zephyria and the hegemony, but between all species who want to learn how to truly connect with each other. Humans could serve as emotional ambassadors. We could travel between worlds and help build understanding where there was once only conflict." Queen Elaine and Queen Kira smiled at each other with their shared thoughts. The empathic accord. They said together, a treaty based on connection instead of conquest. Over the following weeks, word of the new alliance spread throughout the galaxy. Species that had been isolated for centuries began to request human ambassadors to help them build emotional bridges with their neighbors. Marcus became the first ambassador of hearts. traveling from world to world with teams of human diplomats who specialized in emotional connection. The marriage question that had started everything became a small footnote in history. Queen Elaine and Queen Kira ruled Zephyria Prime together as the first truly unified royal house their world had ever known. They never married Marcus, but they remained as close as friends and strong as supporters. General Vex transformed the hegemony from a war machine into an exploration force, using their powerful ships to help human ambassadors reach distant worlds that needed emotional healing. His own people, once connected to each other through human bridges, became some of the most peaceful and helpful species in the galaxy. 6 months after that first desperate proposal in the Crystal Palace, Marcus stood on the observation deck of his new ship, looking out at the stars. His next assignment was a system where two species had been fighting for 300 years, over a misunderstanding that neither side could resolve alone. Another bridge to build. He said to himself with a smile. A message came through from Queen Elaine and Queen Kira on Zephyria Prime. Thank you for showing us that the greatest power in the universe is not the ability to conquer others, but the ability to understand them. Safe travels, Ambassador of Hearts. Marcus smiled and set course for his next destination. Throughout the galaxy, there were hearts waiting to be connected, and humans had finally found their true calling among the stars. They were not the strongest species or the smartest or the most advanced, but they were the species that could reach across any distance, overcome any difference, and remind others that no one had to face the universe alone. That was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy. The simple, powerful truth that every heart could find its bridge home.